What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fierce, Favored, and Spiritually Grounded. I'm your life coach and host, LaTonya Williams. Well, today is going to be the first of our episodes of TNT Ministry. So I have none other than LaTonya Merritt. Everybody say hey to LaTonya.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
As we told y'all, it was coming down the pipeline, so here it is. We're so excited to get started and just share some of the conversations that we've been planning for you guys. Today, we're going to talk about change and a time to change. And we're going to be talking about 2 Corinthians 5:17. It says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things passed away. Behold, new things have come. But as many has received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, even those who believe in his name." And you know, the thing about God is when he starts dealing with us, he sometimes will change our name. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and the importance of change and how we have to embrace change and how we can't stay in that moment, especially when God is like really pruning us and dealing us to just move and do things for his direction. And it don't always feel good, but it's necessary. Right. And it's just like exercising. You know, if it don't hurt, we're not growing. So the more we resist, we just really delay the process. So Tonya, what do you think about change? Tell us a little bit, like with your journey when you started out.
Oh my goodness, change. I was pretty much fighting against change. I wanted to stay the same. Oh, no, I'm not going to go through this. I'm not doing that. I don't have time for, people. I got to do this. I'm working on me. I'm trying to get my body back intact, from breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, change. I don't have time to change myself, like mentally, to deal with someone else's issues and spiritual problems that they were going through. So, for me, with me trying to change myself, it was kind of hard because I'm very stubborn.
We know.
She's gonna call me out when it comes to change. So it's like it was a journey for me, Tonya.
And sorry, guys, we came outside today because it's so pretty here, so we decided y'all don't mind the dogs in the background. But for me, it was really hard. I think God had to break me in a lot of areas. My mouth was really bad. I was negative, and I was the type of person, I've said this before, that I still don't have a filter, but it's a lot better than what it was. But I used to just say whatever I was thinking out of my mouth, and if there was something about you that I didn't like, then I thought it was my job to tell you about it. And, so when God started speaking to me about my mouth, I literally thought I was going to die. It was the hardest thing I could do, but I knew that he had called me and that he could not use me the way that I was. And a lot of times, the change is not for us, but the people he's sending to us.
That's who the change is for.
Yeah, and so if we get caught up in me all the time, what we have to realize, it ain't about me, it's about him.
Amen.
And it's for somebody else. So a lot of times sorry guys, that's the mailman. But a lot of times, we get caught up and we're just like, woe is me, and it's everything, why me? But, we've got to change our approach and ask God, what is it you're trying to teach me?
Right.
And so, Tonya, when he started changing you, tell them a little bit about, like, the process and like, maybe some emotions. Because women, we go off emotions and feelings. So, kind of share, like, some of the things that you were going through, maybe the things that you were thinking, and how you could help them, like, if they're in that transition state, how that they can get through it.
With my change, Tonya, I could say my physical change, it was a lot. Dealing with what I look like, I'm feeling like I was lesser than. So the change for me physically was actually bothering the change that I was going through spiritually. So I was actually battling both. And when God is doing stuff for you, it's kind of like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna do this, but you gonna have to do this for me. No, right. You do this like I told you to do it.
Then I'll do it. I'll bless you.
I'll do it right. Yeah. And it was so hard, Tonya. It was like, okay, Lord, I done already went through this. Now you're gonna put me through this. And like James 1:17 says this, that every good and perfect gift. And that's the gift of change is a gift. Right.
Whether we receive it or not.
I know that's right. And from above, it's a gift that is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavens, light, who does not change like shifting shadows. So his change was, okay, you telling me you want me to change you, but you don't want to go through the process of the change that I'm trying to put you through. You see what I'm saying?
Good.
So when God...
We want a microwave change.
Yeah, right then. No, you can't do that. You still going through this change. And when I'm done with you, you're going to come out...
better.
What they say, way better than you was. So my change was... It was like a pool. Like, okay, tug of war. God doing this, and I'm still trying to get in his way. So... coming out of that change, Tonya, which I'm still going through a process, but coming out of the first change, like the physical change of being accepting who I was physically, is I could care less. You know, if you like me, you like me.
If you don't, you don't.
If you see an imperfection, I go, okay, well,
worry about yourself.
Okay, I'm still here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I don't care whatever that little whatever. Okay, I see that little. Why you got this? Okay, baby, I'd rather have this than to be in the grave.
Puts it in perspective, yeah.
Period. So I'm done with that. But the spiritual change with the way that God is taking me and pulling me through you also, it's kind of I don't like to be in the spotlight. I could care less, but I toot your horn and yay behind you with my pom poms. Yeah, go. But when it's time for me to get up, I'm like, okay, now you gonna do it. That's the change he has me at now with going forth with the ministry and being in the
baby. You can't be connected to me and stay in the background. You got to move to the front.
She wants to be right on the side of her.
That's right. Like that's where I want you cheering. I don't need you down in the stands. I need you up here on the field with me.
I'm like, Tonya, go do this. Go. So you good or not? Now we both gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah. That's just like last night we went to a conference. They wanted us to stand up and just declare what was our it for this year.
Yeah.
And I guess you thought I was going to stand up. Girl, I grabbed her hand and pulled her up. I said, our it is this. Because sometimes you can't go alone. You can't do it by yourself. And, sometimes it's just you need somebody to encourage and push you out of the nest.
Right.
And, a lot of times I didn't have anybody to push me. Everything I did was scared. So I know what it's like to not have anybody push you. So that's why I push you as hard as I do. And sometimes we can't see the gift in us, but other people can see it. And so, it's just one of those things. But it's hard being stretched. It hurts being stretched. I remember
scary. In some areas it's kind of scary because of how people are. You get fearful of, okay, all right, someone is gonna come and say, oh well, this is that. You could have did this better than that. Your criticism. You could have did this better than that. Well, why did you do it like that? I would have said it like this, but you're not me. Right. So, I started learning that people are going to criticize. They're going to say what they want to say about you. You just have to push forth and, do what God tells you.
And you don't need that type of negativity in your life. So if it's a constant person that's doing it, you got to let them go.
Right.
And, but as far as everybody, like you said, is going to have an opinion of what you do, but you got to be true to who you are and who God's called you to be and what he's asking you to do for your assignment. So there's going to be days where nobody's going to cheer you on or nothing's going to go right. It's not going to go as planned. And the best advice I can give you, stop comparing yourself to other people and thinking that the gift he's given you is going to look like somebody else, because it is not. And the things that I have been insecure about or don't like about myself, those are the very things that God has used, and used them in a way that I never imagined.
Right. And that's the same for me too, Tonya, because even though you was talking about the event we went to last night, it was like the lady that stood up and said that she had, just being diagnosed with cancer. It was like me and another female in the room that a woman had, been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm like, okay, we know, I know about cancer. breast cancer survivor. Okay, so I got something to tell this lady. Hey, you fine. You know, God gonna be able to bring you out of that. Don't even worry about it. What you do is put your head in God's lap and ride it out.
Right.
That's what you do.
And that's why a lot of times we experience things. It ain't for us.
Right.
It's for somebody else. But we get caught up in, like I said before, me, you know, and why am I having to go through this? And Lord, you said you would never forsake me.
Right.
You know, he's not forsaken us. And, you know, a lot of people have experienced and been through some really traumatic things in their lives. But you have the choice to either, you know, be bitter or better. You know, are you going to be the victim or are you going to be victorious?
Right.
So it's up to you to change your story.
Right.
And use that for God's glory.
That's right. Because in Hebrews, 13:8, it says that Jesus is the same today and forevermore. He's the only one that's going to stay the same. We're going to change. We're going to get older. We gain a little weight, maybe lose it, maybe gain it back, you know. So we have to be subject for change.
Yes, and the thing about it is, you know, Peter's my dude because Peter, you know, he danced to the beat of his own drum, you know. Peter just didn't care, but even God used Peter, you know, and so just like Peter, Jesus sees what you can be regardless of what you are. We're real around here. It's okay. We're speaking to everybody outside today, y'all. But the thing about it is God knows what we're going to do before we do it. And don't get caught up in being so religious all the time. And I struggled with that. I was worried about what the church folk thought all the time and watching what I posted on Facebook because I was worried about, you know, were they going to hire me to work in church and stuff like that. Little did I know that wasn't God's plan for me. He removed me out from underneath them. And it's been the most freeing thing for me because that was not me. And God only anoints our authentic self. And so I was trying to be who I thought they wanted me to be. But since I am no longer connected, I feel free to say what I want, how I want to say it. And I can really authentically be me. And I love it. You know, and I feel like the people that he sends to me, they, I guess they respond to me better, you know, than my idea of what he was calling me to.
Right. He was just calling you to real people. And real recognize real.
Yep.
And then you have the people that are fake, they recognize real too. Like, okay, now she says she's this, but is she really this? So they go and they try to
expose you too.
And they try to expose you. What are you exposing? This is me. You can't expose who I am.
And I think that's good. That's one thing I really think is important is to always be real. You know, don't try to be perfect and cover it up. Like, if you stump your toe and you cuss, admit it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't perfect. God is still working on me. But if you ever caught that baby toe on the corner of a couch or something, baby, I'll make up cuss words. You know,
like Larry Reed,
right? That's my dude. That is my dude. But you know, but you just got to be real, and you know, none of us are perfect. And I think that's where churches really get messed up, and they mess people up is trying to make them think they have to be a perfect way when God will just meet you right where you are. If He used a donkey, come on, y'all, that's a whole ass.
That's right.
He can use anybody.
He can use anyone. That is so right.
So I think, you know, change is hard, but it's necessary. And so for any of y'all that is resistant to change, it's a constant cycle. You can choose to go through the pain for a minute and just rip it off like a Band-Aid and do it, or you can stay stuck in the same cycles that you're in. And each day that passes, you'll either look back and be, you know, so grateful for how far you've came, or you'll look back and wish you had started. And you're still stuck in the same spot.
That's right. Because without change, you can't grow. No growth.
And if you're resistant to change, you're blocking your own blessings because you're pretty much telling God, I know what you told me to do, or I know what you got for me, but I ain't got time for that right now. I ain't, I'm out here living my best life, and that's just not the lifestyle for me right now. And people think that just because you're saved that you got to be sanctified, and I don't know about y'all, but I have the time of my life. I love to dance, I love to have fun, and I don't care who sees it. And sometimes it's the stigma of being in ministry. That's kind of why in this season I've just lost that title. You know what I mean? Because I think it puts a standard on me that I know I can't carry out right now.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I get you. But what it is, Tonya, it's not that you can't dance and have fun. It's that whatever you listen to, your spirit's going to automatically convict you if it's not.
Yeah, oh God.
You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be listening to. Your spirit man is going to automatically say, oh, no, You're going to feel a certain type of way.
It's going to irritate you.
Yeah. But if you know what I'm saying, words, different love songs and things like that have meanings. You know what I'm saying? So it's meanings in songs. So we just have to go with it.
Yeah.
I know that back in the day, don't listen to that, what they call it, I forgot what the blues. That was my aunt and mama used to call it the blues. Okay, now we know the blues is like B.B. King, but they call the blues everything.
Yeah, like it gave you the blues.
Right, it gave you the blues. So it's just the difference of how your spirit man makes you feel.
Yeah. And people will make you feel a certain way too.
Right.
They will put their beliefs and judgment off on you, having you thinking there's something wrong with you.
Exactly.
So you just got to be true to who you are and just in tune with God and what He's called you and what He's asking you to do. Don't worry about nobody else. Just worry about what He's asking you to do. And if they judge you or whatever, tell them worry about themselves. Because when you get to heaven, God's not going to ask you about my sins. He's going to ask you about what you did.
Exactly. He's going to ask you why you didn't go do what I told you to do.
Yeah.
I ain't want to do it because Mary said I wasn't worthy of it.
Or I can't pray down the walls of Jericho like Minister so-and-so.
Right. No, I told you to pray. And if you had to just pray, Our Father which art in heaven.
Yeah, and everything's a process, but you can't change and get to where He's taking you if you're not willing to go through the fire and the process.
Exactly.
And, practice makes perfect. You're not going to get it right every time, the first time, or maybe 100 times. But if you don't continue to do it, it's a craft. It's just like singing or a ballerina or anything. That's a craft. You have to keep practicing and exercising those muscles, because what you don't use, you lose.
That's right. Even with muscles.
Yes, baby. We're here to tell you about that.
We don't want to talk about no muscles, do we? Lord, no.
Worry about yourself. Don't worry about yourself. Don't worry about me.
Yes, but change is acceptable. I accept change,
and it's
even
necessary.
Though it's hard. That's right.
What don't feel good to you it really is good for you.
It is. It really is.
And sometimes you talk about people, what you need to do, and you need to do this. I did that to my husband. Sometimes. One thing about when you first really get in church and stuff like that, you get so caught up in the religious aspect of it, and then you start thinking, okay, you start looking at people different, and you start saying you don't need to drink that, you shouldn't smoke that cigar, and you really just want so bad for them to feel what and experience what you're feeling, that you don't even realize that you're judging them, or the things that you're saying to them is coming off like that. And so be mindful during that process and that change of what you say to other people and how you encourage them, because sometimes I think I pushed him further away than bringing him in, because I didn't have the right approach in the way I said it. And sometimes we can be so comfortable with the person again and not have a filter that we can just say whatever comes out of our mouth.
You can't, even with your spouse. You
but
what you want to say.
And the thing with your spouse is they may be resistant to change too, and they may not, want to ride with the church thing or get into it as much as you do. But always remember, God has a plan for everybody. He has a cross and a purpose for everybody. So just because He's not dealing with them the way that you think they should, or the changes are not coming how you should think they should, remember, He gave you grace every day, and he's still
Every
working
day.
on you. So give them grace in the same way, and know that your purpose is not the same as theirs.
Exactly.
And so, let God deal with them. You stay out of it, because
Exactly.
you'll just make it worse. You'll make them turn around and never come back.
Exactly. That's why what the older lady say, love and kindness have I drawn. See, you have to draw people with love. You can't. Why you doing that? Why you smoking that cigar? What is you doing that for? Because God told you to put the cigar down.
Don't mean they told him.
He ain't told him yet. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? He's working with him in other areas. So
Yep.
you hush your mouth and let him do what he
Well,
got to do with you, and let him do what he got to do with him.
And the thing about it is, if you're not careful, you'll listen to people and they'll tell you that your marriage is unequally yoked.
Right.
And
right.
have you looking crazy at your spouse and stuff like that. But if God ain't told you that, you don't listen to nobody else. And the thing about, God dealing with them and their purpose and things like that, you don't know what God's going to do in the end. So, just like me and my husband, I'm more into the ministry. He's into entertainment, but that's still a ministry too, because everything he does, he mentions God, and he gives God credit for it. But people don't look at it like that. People don't look at it that what God's going to do in the end. This is just the process.
Hey, come on.
It ain't the promise. It ain't the end.
That's right.
But he's building up the followers that's going to follow him.
That's right.
And you don't know what he's going to do in the end that he's going to use that for. So,
Yes.
I hear a lot of women talking about, well, I'm into church, but my husband ain't into church. You worry about yourself. You work on you.
Continue to
You pray for him.
That's right.
And you may not see it happen overnight. You may be praying the same. I've prayed some of the same prayers for 10, 15 years, and they ain't passed yet. But guess what? I'm still praying.
That's right.
That don't mean they ain't.
That's right.
Because I can't look at it in my time. It's got to be in God's time
In
for that
God's
change.
time. Amen.
So if God ain't dealing with him in that area of change, then I don't need to be concerned about it.
Right. Just wait on his time, because it can be overnight. God can do things like that just by a snap of a finger.
We think God needs our help.
He don't need our help. We got to get out of the way. That's the reason
Right.
why half of the time that they still where they at, because we in the way.
Right. And we're they're stagnant because
Right.
we won't surrender it and lay it at God's feet.
That's right.
So
Get out of the way.
right. So we just encourage you to change.
Please.
If there's areas that you know that you need to change, whether it be, your mouth, your health, it could be, the way you talk to your kids. It can be a habit. I'm not saying it has to be like an addiction or something
Right.
that's like, really bad, The food I eat ain't good for me, so that's a change that I need to do. I can't eat fried chicken all the time and think I'm going to walk around here skinty.
Beach body ready.
Right. But God hasn't convicted me in that area yet, so I'm going to keep eating these mashed potatoes.
Chicken wings.
Worry about yourself. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the things that you feel that you need to change, work on that. Because
Right.
the thing is, God didn't call you to be like anybody else. He wants you to be the best version of you that you can be.
Exactly.
And so when you start comparing yourself to what you think others want you to be or what you need to be, that comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes, it is. And that's what we mess up at.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I can handle, you can't handle. What you can handle, I may can't handle.
You're
See
right
what I'm
about
saying? So
that.
we're different.
Yep. And your assignment ain't my assignment.
Exactly.
And when I try to step into your realm or your gifting, that's what messes people up.
Right.
My husband can sing, but I can't. But
Right.
in my mind, I sound like Tasha
A
Cobbs.
cigar, you can
Right. I sound like a beach angel.
You do.
But, when I get in the mode of cleaning, I'll put my headphones in and I'll go, baby, I'll be singing at the top of my lungs. Them boys will come out of that room and they'll be like, Mama, please be quiet, And my husband will say something, and he used to poke at me and say, baby, that sounds like somebody's running over a cat. And I had to tell him, I was like, look, just because you got a gift, don't mean you put me down and talk about mine. And then so now he's like, sometimes I listen to you, and he said you actually can carry a tune. Like, it sounds pretty good when you ain't trying.
Right.
And I said, well, baby, God can use anybody and make it sound like anything to anybody.
He can anoint anything.
Right.
He definitely can. Mm-hmm.
So, y'all, this concludes this episode of Time for Change. So we thank y'all for just letting us kick back and share with you guys. If you want to reach out to either one of us, feel free to reach out to LaTonya Merritt at
Heels of Faith at 2018@gmail.com. Or you can reach me on Facebook at Heels of Faith on Facebook. And you can actually reach out to me on Instagram, heels_of_faith.
And as always, you guys, you know how to reach me. I'm at TanyaWilliams01@gmail.com or on Facebook. So thank you guys so much for always tuning in. Until next time.